of order. I recognize the member for Essex.
Madam Speaker, if you seek it, you'll find unanimous consent to recognize the 50th anniversary for the Ombudsman's office, with 5 minutes allotted to the government, 5 minutes allotted to the official opposition, 5 minutes allotted to the third party, and 2 minutes allotted to the independent members as a group.
The member for Essex is seeking unanimous consent to recognize the 50th anniversary for the Ombudsman's office, with 5 minutes allotted to the government, 5 minutes allotted to the official opposition, 5 minutes allotted to the third party, and 2 minutes allotted to the independent members as a group. Agreed? Agreed. Debate. I recognize the member for Essex.
Thank you, Speaker. It's my pleasure to offer a few remarks today on the 50th anniversary of the founding of the Office of the Ombudsman for Ontario. The Office of the Ombudsman was created in 1975 by legislation called the Ombudsman Act. And I'd like to take you all back to the year 1975 with a few facts about that year. In 1975, the population of Ontario was approximately 8.5 million people. The Premier of Ontario was the Honourable William Grenville Davis. There were no Toronto Blue Jays. There were no Toronto Raptors. There was no SARS and no COVID-19. The minimum wage was $2.65 per hour. A domestic postage stamp was 8 cents, and people bought them because there was no email. There was no internet. There was no chat GPT, and the band, the Guess Who, broke up in 1975. But when one door closes, another opens. After leaving the Guess Who, Randy Bachman helped form the band Bachman-Turner Overdrive, which had the hit song, Taking Care of Business. And taking care of business is the job of the Office of the Ombudsman every day. The Ombudsman helps resolve problems with government and public sector organizations. You can contact the Ombudsman if you, for example, have a problem with the Ontario government or the public service, if you have a problem with a municipality or a university or a school board, if you believe you were treated unfairly or treated with disrespect, if you are facing what a reasonable person might consider long delays, or if it seems that you are being denied answers to reasonable questions, or if you just want information about services that you feel you're entitled to. And what else does the Ombudsman do? They resolve complaints about government departments and agencies. They give advice on what people should do. They try to explain to people why they might be unsuccessful for getting a government service or getting a government benefit, and they give advice to government to improve government services. The Office of the Ombudsman deals with approximately 30,000 cases each year and will serve you in both official languages. Thank you to all the men and women who have served at the Office of the Ombudsman, and special thanks to the individuals who have served as the Ombudsman: Arthur Maloney from 1975 to 1978, Donald Morand from 1979 to 1984, Daniel Hill from 1984 to 1989, Roberta Jameson from 1989 to 1999, Claire Lewis from 2000 to 2005, André Marin from 2005 to 2015, and Paul Dubé, 2016 to the present day. Thank you.
Further debate?
Congratulations to the Office of the Ombudsman of Ontario on 50 successful years of service to the people of Ontario. And here's to another 50 years of taking care of business every day, taking care of business every way, taking care of business, it's all mine, taking care of business, and working overtime. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Further debate, I recognize the member for Toronto Centre.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm proud to rise in this chamber on behalf of the official opposition to extend congratulations on the 50th anniversary of the Ontario Ombudsman's Office and to thank them for the invaluable public service that they provide to the people of Ontario. It's hard to imagine what Ontarians did more than 50 years ago when they were treated unfairly by the government or a particular government practice that required looking into. Ontarians tried every avenue to break and point to a break in the system, oftentimes turning up empty-handed. Until the office of the Ombudsman was created 50 years ago, that simple office of last resort, Ontarians had to live and suffer with the injustice. We are so lucky, Speaker, that we now have an ombuds institution in this legislature. Ontario's first ombudsman, first of 7 ombudsmen, was Arthur Maloney, who was sworn in on October 30th, 1975. He was followed by subsequent ombudsmen, each one passing the torch to the very next, who are Donald Moran, Daniel Hill, Roberta Jameson, Claire Willis, Andre Moran, and Paul Dubé, our very current and present ombudsman today. Today, Ombudsman of Ontario, including the French Language Commissioner, Carl Bouchard, has oversight of over 1,000 provincial and broader public service organizations. This oversight includes handling complaints and investigating administrative fairness issues related to these bodies. Having a public accountability office to openly investigate and to criticize the government is invaluable to the preservation of good governance, protecting individual rights and reinforcing public trust in our democratic institutions, something that we need now more than ever before. In our current political environment, we need the Ombudsman's Office to reinforce that trust. The Canadian Council of Parliamentarian Ombudsmen, a collective of ombudsmen from across the country, released a document that highlighted the 7 effective principles of being an ombudsman. All of those 7 principles are important. Ontario Ombudsman Paul Dubé pulled out one as the most critical, the security of tenure. Security of tenure is not just for tenants who had to scream their heads off this weekend to save their month-to-month leases, but also for ombudsmen as well. An ombudsman, as Mr. Dubé has said, should be safe knowing that they can do their job without fear or favor, as it is important for them to not have to look over their shoulder or worried about being removed from office as they put out a report that may counter the narrative of a government or contain some inconvenient truths. What politicians have told me over the years is that we love you when we're in opposition, but you're a pain in the butt when we're in government, as it should be, Speaker. The fact that Ontario's ombudsman, who raised security of tenure, being the most critical, is worrying to me. This government needs to be able to listen to the ombudsman and to really take into his words into their heart. In recent years, the Ombudsman has been kept very busy by holding the government accountable, and we know this very well in the official opposition, as we have frequently pointed out the possible areas of investigation, including the Ministry of Labour's uneven and unfair preferential handout of the social development funds to PC donors and lobbyists, to more qualified applicants. This is what is a break in the system. The work that the Ombudsman does literally saves lives. I want to commend them on their work on behalf of children in particular. They have shed a light on the practice of Ontario's child welfare agencies. Housing children in hotels, motels, and even offices is not helpful. Actually, we've seen significant harm, including for those impacting newborns, for those who have diabolic diseases. All of these have shone a light on the injustice and the broken system. Even with the Ombudsman's report, landmark report, I would say now, regarding Landlord-Tenant Board, administrative justice delayed, fairness denied, it has been critical to my own work as the shadow Attorney General, exposing the failures in the LTB, recognizing that both landlords and tenants are stuck in the queue when a justice system doesn't work. The Toronto Star highlighted injustices that we've seen in Maplehurst and the correctional facilities, and because of that, the Ombudsman, at his own discretion, picked up and started to take a look at what was happening in corrections, recognizing that he had seen a 55% increase in complaints. He then called for meaningful and systemic reform to recognize the basic rights of inmates as a moral imperative. All of this extends as I reach my conclusion, Speaker, is that although these truths are inconvenient, this House must recognize how important the independent accountability offices are, and it is with that and deep gratitude on behalf of the official opposition, I say thank you.
The member for Etobicoke Lakeshore.
Thank you, Speaker. It is my pleasure to commemorate Ombudsman Ontario's 50th anniversary on behalf of the Liberal caucus, marking half a century of protecting Ontario's rights and promoting fair, accountable public services. When this office was first created in 1975, the vision was that it would stand for the rights of all Ontarians. The title, Ombudsman, is a Swedish term dating back more than 200 years, and it means citizen's representative and is considered gender neutral. In March 1975, Ontario became Canada's 7th province to announce the creation of an independent, impartial ombudsman institution to protect the people's right to fair treatment by public bodies. The Ombudsman Act was passed in May that year, and on October 30th, 1975, Arthur Maloney was sworn in as the first ombudsman. And the first woman ombudsman, Speaker, was Roberta Jameson, who served from 1989 to 1999. Since then, they have handled more than 1 million cases and conducted hundreds of investigations, which have resulted in more than 1,300 recommendations. Several of the Ombudsman recommendations to improve public service have been enforced, which has benefited millions of Ontarians. Having worked in healthcare for over 25 years, I witnessed firsthand the role the Ombudsman played in elevating healthcare, addressing concerns about healthcare coverage, and the Ontario government body's responsibilities for health and long-term care. I saw how the office gave a voice to patients, families and frontline workers after they'd exhausted all their local options to raise those issues, ensuring that systemic issues were addressed and individual concerns were addressed with fairness and transparency. Over the course of its history, 7 remarkable individuals have served as Ombudsman, and I'd like to specifically thank Paul Dubé, our present Ombudsman since 2016. Thank you for your passion and dedication to promoting justice. The office's investigations have led to meaningful and tangible changes, including expanding screening of newborn babies for metabolic diseases, more transparency and accountability in municipal and school board governance, administrative improvements at tribunals and reforms of Ontario's correction systems, and broader civilian oversight of police. I would also like to acknowledge the Frank Language Services Commissioner for their work as part of Ombudsman Ontario. In
2018, our government amalgamated service language ombudsman with the Ontario Ombudsman Office, despite all the objection of the French community. This office is still doing an incredible meaningful work today for government agencies that do not respect their obligation under the law when it comes to the French language services. We rely on the Ombudsman Office and the French language commissioner to do the right work in order to make sure that Francophone in Ontario have their rights being respected.
The Office of the Ombudsman made it clear that its role is to stand for all the people of Ontario as a protector of their rights. In his 1975 to 1976 annual report, the first Ombudsman, Arthur Maloney, used the image of a griffin, a mythical animal that is half eagle and half lion, as his office symbol, noting that the griffin had been used by numerous cultures for centuries to signify a protector of human rights. The griffin has long represented the protection of human rights, and in the original logo, the griffin was depicted among trilliums, Ontario's emblem representing the province's diverse population. And thus, Arthur wrote, "The Ombudsman represents protection for social rights and cultural integrity for all. Thank you to Ombudsman Ontario, current Ombudsman Paul Dubé, to the French Commissioner Cal Bouchard, and to all the members of the team for your work listening to the public every day, and for 50 years of service, fairness, and advocacy. Thank you.
Further debate, I recognize the member for Guelph.
Speaker, it is an honour to rise today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Office of Ombudsman Ontario. 50 years of vital work to protect the rights of people in this province for fair treatment by the public bodies that serve them. I want to offer heartfelt thanks to everyone who has worked in the Ombuds office, past and present. Thank you for handling more than 1 million individual cases, conducting hundreds of investigations, and making more than 1,300 recommendations to improve public services for people across this province. Most importantly, thank you for providing an essential place for people to go, to be heard, to have their complaints addressed, their concerns investigated, advice given, and recommendation for actions taken. To Paul Dubé, who has been the Ombudsman for the past 9 years, the entire time I have been an MPP, I apologize if I've overworked your team by referring so many people to your office. But I can tell you how important it is to be able to direct your constituents and people across this province to the Ombuds office, knowing that their concerns and complaints will be heard and responded to. I strongly believe that public services play a vital role in improving the lives of people in this province. And when people don't receive the quality of service they deserve, we as elected officials need to know, so that we can demand better and take actions to improve the services that people rely on. And that's why I'm so deeply grateful to the team at the Ombuds office for playing such a vital role in helping us to do that, Speaker.